Chapter 10. She Deserved to Live. Claire Hadley lives 3 doors down in the White House with the rose trellis and the broken porch step. Most mornings, she's out there before the dew dries, barefoot in her nightgown, rocking a pink stroller like time's got nowhere to be. People say she lost a child once. Others say she lost a few things. But I've seen her. I've seen the way she coos into that stroller, the way she talks to the bundle inside like it talks back. And I swear to you, swear on the grave I haven't dug yet, that whatever's in that stroller has her heart, her full attention, and her last grip on the world. That morning it was bright and soft, and the wind hadn't picked up yet. I watched her from across the street, just a glance through the window while the coffee brewed. She leaned down over the stroller, gently lifting the edge of the blanket. "You see the birdie, Lily? Mama's watching. You don't have to be scared, not ever again." The blanket didn't move. She said it like a promise, but her voice had that edge, like she knew she couldn't keep it. Then the old clock in her hallway chimed 10 o'clock, and just like that, she was done with the sun. Rolled the stroller up the porch, opened the door, and locked it behind her. 3 locks, deadbolt, chain, slide latch. You only lock up like that if you know something wants in. Inside, the house was dim, windows closed, curtains drawn. That kind of stale silence that clings to places where no one sleeps well. Claire wheeled the stroller through the hall like she was guiding a royal carriage. A baby monitor crackled from the table near the stairs, even though there wasn't a room upstairs anymore. The monitor stayed on anyway. "Did she enjoy the sun?" Miriam Holloway asked from the kitchen doorway. Her voice always had a softness to it, like warm hands and cold pearls. She dressed like a mother from a TV movie. The kind where something bad always happens by the end. "I think she liked the breeze," Claire said. She smiled at a blue jay. Miriam nodded like she already knew. She always did like birds. Claire parked the stroller in the living room. Neither of them looked inside, just stood on either side of it like they were waiting for it to breathe. "She didn't get cold?" Miriam asked. "No, I tucked her in tight." "Good girl. Let's have tea before your check-in." That's what they called it. Check-in. Like Claire was on a retreat. They left the stroller there, didn't even rock it. The kitchen was the clean kind of sad, cinnamon in the air, but something sterile underneath. Claire moved slow, ankle monitor clicking softly against the tile like a leash. 2 teacups, sugar bowl, cinnamon toast, 1 tiny saucer with a spoon, empty but carefully placed like it wasn't. "Don't forget the milk," Miriam said. Claire didn't even look up. "I never do." They sat across from each other, their hands closed but not quite touching. "She's been sleeping okay?" Miriam asked. Claire nodded, eyes fixed on her tea. "Wakes up at 3:33 sometimes. I check her breathing. I think she knows he's close." "He's not," Miriam said, smiling too gently. "He's gone. He can't come back." "He had a key," Claire muttered. "He knows where the boards creak. I think he left the garage door unlocked last night." Miriam sipped her tea. "That's just your mind, Claire. He's not real anymore. You ended that." Claire flinched like she'd been slapped. "I don't like saying it out loud." "Then don't," Miriam said. "We don't have to say it. We lived it." Outside, a gust of wind knocked a branch against the kitchen window. Sharp, sudden. Claire stiffened. "He knows Lily lived. He knows she's here." That's when the air changed. Just a bit. Just enough. "She didn't live, honey," Miriam said. Soft but firm. "Not really." Claire whispered, "She should have." Miriam reached across the table and took Claire's hand. Her fingers were dry, cold, steady. I know she should have, but what matters now is this house, this life, what we have." Claire didn't answer. Miriam reached under her chair and pulled out the binder. Black cover, red sticker. Case 314B, Post-Trial Psychiatric Oversight Level 2, Direct Supervision. Claire's face went pale. "I've been good," she said. "I haven't left. I haven't touched anything sharp." Miriam nodded. "I know, this is just paperwork. We all have our rituals." She flipped through pages like it was a cookbook. "Compliance, strong. Medication, you missed Tuesday night?" Claire looked away. "I was rocking her. She fell asleep on me." "Then make sure you take it tonight. We don't want another scare." The room got quiet, not the kind of quiet you choose, the kind that just shows up and won't leave. Later, Claire sat cross-legged in the nursery. The wallpaper had peeled in the corners, but someone had tried to fix it with clear tape. The crib was spotless, The doll, Lily, sat swaddled in pink fleece, head tilted just right. Claire leaned in close. "You were so brave today," she whispered. "You didn't even cry when the wind got mean." She stroked the doll's synthetic hair. One hand shook just slightly. The baby monitor crackled. Miriam's voice drifted through. "Lunch in 15, sweetheart. Then maybe we do that puzzle?" Claire kissed the doll's forehead. "Okay, Mama." From the outside, the house looked perfect. A grandmother, a mother, a baby girl. But I've learned something, watching that porch all these mornings. Sometimes the worst ghosts don't come back screaming. Sometimes they come back quiet, wrapped in pink, and still. Claire sang softly in the nursery, just above a whisper, rocking side to side with a bottle in one hand and the other bracing the doll's neck like it had weight, warmth, a pulse. "Rockabye baby, in the treetop." Lily didn't drink, but Claire wiped her mouth anyway, tucked a burp cloth beneath her chin, and patted her back in light, practiced rhythms. After a few seconds, she nodded like she'd heard a tiny puff of air escape. "There we go," she said. "Good girl." She sat cross-legged on the floor with the doll nestled in her lap, humming a lullaby that blended into something that didn't have words. Her voice cracked now and then, not from sorrow, just from wear, like a wheel grinding against the same stone over and over. Outside the window, a leaf blew up against the glass and stuck there. Claire stared at it for a long moment, then slowly turned the doll toward it. "You see that? That means fall's coming. We'll have to get your sweater soon." The leaf stayed stuck. Back in the kitchen, Miriam moved through her motions with surgical calm. She crushed chamomile buds with the back of a spoon, dropped in a peppermint sachet for nerves, and set the kettle on. Her hands were steady, her mind always a few beats ahead. When Claire came in, she was already setting the table. 2 plates, one child-sized saucer with a flower design. Miriam smiled. "Did she burp?" Claire nodded and took her seat, the doll cradled in her arms like a swaddled heirloom. "Good, that means we'll get a nap out of her later." Claire smiled. "She always gets sleepy after feeding, like her father." The smile faltered between them for a moment. Miriam recovered first. "Let's talk about your progress." Claire blinked. "I thought this was lunch." "It is, but life's about multitasking, sweetheart." She pulled a notepad from her purse, not the binder this time, just a small spiral one with pen loops and a worn leather edge. Therapy on a placemat. Miriam spoke in the gentle rhythm of a seasoned guide. "Have you felt safe this week?" Claire hesitated. "Mostly. Tell me about the parts that weren't." Claire looked toward the back door. "He was outside Monday. I think he touched the trash bins. The lids were tilted." "Raccoons tilt lids, too." Claire shook her head. "He was a smoker. I could smell it on the deck, like ash and cologne." Miriam didn't argue. She just wrote it down. "Okay, did you take your medication after that?" "Yes, and I held Lily until the sun came up." "Good." Miriam smiled even as she underlined something 3 times. "You're protecting her. That's what mothers do." Claire softened. "I just want her to have what I didn't." "And she will," Miriam said, sliding the plate of toast toward her. "She's got a strong mother and a loving home, and this time," she let the words hang, almost reverent, "this time she'll grow up safe." Later that afternoon, the sun dipped into a softer gold. Claire packed Lily up for a walk. The stroller creaked just slightly as she wheeled it down the driveway. Her bare feet made soft scuffs on the concrete. She took the long route, past the McKenna's house with the sun-bleached flamingo, around the cul-de-sac where the mailboxes leaned like tired soldiers. As she walked, she muttered to Lily, "That man in the car, he's pretending to read the paper, but he's not. He's watching us." She picked up speed. "And see that porch light, blinking like that? It wasn't blinking yesterday. It's a signal. Someone's signaling." She turned the stroller sharply onto their street again. "Someone's in the fence line. I heard them breathing." The breeze shifted. It smelled faintly like cigarette smoke, or maybe it didn't. Claire broke into a trot. The wheels of the stroller rattled against the cracked sidewalk. She didn't stop at the front steps, just yanked the door open with one hand, shoved the stroller through with the other, and kicked it shut behind her. Click, click, click. Deadbolt. Chain. Slide. Miriam was already standing in the hall, like she'd been waiting there the whole time. "Was it him again?" she asked gently. Claire nodded, clutching the doll tight. "He was watching from the corner. He knows we leave at 4. Miriam touched her arm. "You're safe now. You're home. He can't come inside." Claire didn't answer. She didn't cry. She just clutched the doll harder and whispered, not to Miriam, but to whatever part of her still believed. He wants her, but he can't have her. Cut to black. The rain started on a Thursday, one of those slow, soaking storms that doesn't make a show of it. Just a steady whisper across the roof and windows, never letting up. By Sunday, the gutters were overflowing, and the garden out front looked drowned. Even the birds seemed to know better than to stick around. Inside the house, the air grew thick, like breath held too long. Claire stood at the window with Lily in her arms, watching the rain bead and crawl down the glass. "She doesn't like it," she said. Behind her, Miriam barely looked up from her crossword. "She's just not used to it, that's all." Claire adjusted the blanket tighter around the doll's head. "She jumped last night when the thunder hit." "You didn't cover her ears," Miriam said, tapping her pen against her lip. "Babies are sensitive. You know that." Claire nodded, ashamed. "I didn't mean to fall asleep. I was rocking her. I must have drifted." "Not an excuse," Miriam said, not unkindly. "She counts on you." "I'll do better." "You always say that." Miriam circled a word in ink, falter, and closed the book. The days started to blur after that. Morning rituals bled into lunch without warning. Some nights they forgot to eat dinner altogether. The baby didn't cry, at least not when Miriam was around, but Claire swore she heard her in the hallway. 3 a.m. every night. A thin, high-pitched wail from just outside her bedroom door. Not loud, but urgent. Hungry. Claire would sit up in bed, heart pounding, and find the monitor flashing, though no sound came through. She'd rush to the nursery, only to find Lily swaddled exactly how she left her. Still, silent. Miriam told her it was stress. "You're making echoes out of memory," she said, steeping another cup of tea. "Let the past go. He's not here anymore." But Claire wasn't so sure. It started with the back window. She could have sworn she locked it, had checked the latch herself, but one morning it was cracked open, just an inch, barely wide enough for fingers, but it was open. Rain had come in, leaving a trail of droplets on the sill. Claire wiped them with her sleeve, then pulled the blanket tighter around Lily in the stroller. "He came in," she whispered. "He was here last night." Miriam stood behind her, arms crossed. "Don't do this again," she said. Claire pointed to the damp wood. "Look at it, he must have stood right here, watching her sleep. It's condensation, that's all." Claire reached down and felt the hardwood floor. It was slick in one spot, like something had dripped or stepped. "He's coming back, I know he is." "Claire." Miriam's voice lost its warmth. "We talked about this. You're regressing." Claire stared at her, chest rising and falling fast. "A knife's missing." Miriam blinked. Claire walked to the kitchen drawer and flung it open. The knife block sat near the sink, glossy black wood and stainless steel handles. One space was empty. "I count them every day," Claire said. "It's the bread knife, the long one." "You probably set it down somewhere." "I didn't. I never moved them." "Then you must have dropped it." Claire stepped back, eyes flicking toward the hall. "What if he has it?" That night, Claire sat with Lily in the nursery again, rocking in the chair while rain ticked against the windows. She didn't turn the lights on, just held the doll tight and listened. Somewhere in the house, a floorboard creaked. Not loud, just enough. She held her breath. Then came the sound of water, dripping, one tap at a time. She stood, clutching Lily, and moved to the hallway. The lights were off, but the bathroom door was cracked open. Inside, a single drop fell from the edge of the sink. Claire stepped closer. The floor beneath her was damp. She turned on the light and nearly screamed. Boot prints. Not muddy, wet. Clear outlines, size 11, leading from the window to the hallway door. She grabbed the nearest thing she could, a curling iron, and clutched it like a weapon. Her breathing went wild, but there was no one there. In the morning, she didn't say anything. She sat at the table with Miriam, sipping tea in silence, her eyes dark and sunken. Miriam placed a spoon beside Lily's saucer and said, "You look tired." Claire nodded. "Did you sleep?" Claire didn't answer. Miriam reached out and took the doll from her arms. Claire tensed, but Miriam rocked the doll gently, then pressed her cheek against its plastic forehead. "She's warm," she said. Claire's throat tightened. "Be careful with her head." "I am. Always." Miriam kissed the doll and whispered something Claire couldn't hear. For a long moment, Claire just stared at her. Then she whispered, "You don't think I'm crazy?" Miriam turned to her, smiling soft. You're not crazy, darling. You're protective. Claire blinked. But what if I'm both? Miriam looked down at the doll, then back at Claire. Then she's lucky to have you. Later, when Claire laid Lily down in the crib, she checked the baby monitor and every lock twice. Then she sat at the edge of her bed, listening. Somewhere in the wall, the house made a sound. Not creaking, not settling, breathing. Claire didn't sleep anymore. She'd lie in bed with Lily curled in the crook of her arm, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the shadows to twitch wrong. Every night she swore she heard someone moving in the attic, but Miriam said they didn't have an attic, that it was just the house settling, just pipes and echoes. But Claire knew the house. And it wasn't just settling. It was during one of those sleepless dawns, sky bruised and flickering with stormlight, that Claire found the burner phone. Bottom drawer, old purse. She didn't even remember putting it there. It powered on without a password. One missed call, one voicemail, unknown caller. 3:33 a.m. She almost dropped the phone. Her fingers hovered over the play button. She looked to Lily, swaddled and dreaming in her arms. Then she pressed it. The message started with static, then a click, then breathing, wet and ragged, then his voice. You think you're safe in there, Claire Bear? You think a couple locks and an ankle bracelet make you untouchable? A pause, a distant scraping sound, like metal dragged on wood. I know what you did, I know what you lost, and I know what you're pretending you still have. Click, the line went dead. Claire stared at the screen, heart thudding in her throat. Miriam found her pacing the living room, gripping the phone like it might bite. He called, Claire whispered. He called. Miriam didn't even look at the phone. He didn't. I heard him. You heard your fear. Claire shoved the phone toward her. Play it. Listen. Miriam took it, tapped a few buttons, then handed it back. It's empty. No, I swear it was there. You're tired, Miriam said. You've been on edge since the rain started, maybe even before. He said he knows what I'm pretending. Claire. Miriam stepped closer, voice low and slow. You know he's gone. You saw him fall. Claire blinked hard. I don't remember. You do. You just don't want to. Claire's breath hitched. What if he got up? Miriam didn't answer that. She just pulled her into a hug and stroked her hair until Claire stopped shaking. That afternoon, Claire started setting traps, not lethal ones, just little signs, little warnings, a bell on every door handle, a line of salt across the windowsills, furniture pushed against the back door, baby monitors synced to every room. She lined Lily's crib with aluminum foil beneath the mattress. To block signals, she whispered. He won't find her again. Miriam didn't interfere, but that evening, while Claire was boiling water for tea, Miriam stood by the pill cabinet with her arms folded. You missed 2 doses. I know. Miriam raised an eyebrow. And I'm not taking them. You need them. I don't, Claire snapped. If I dull the edges, I won't see him coming. You're unraveling. I'm preparing. Miriam watched her for a moment, then turned and left without another word. That night, they both rocked the baby. Miriam sat in the old glider by the window, the doll in her lap, cradled just so. Claire sat on the floor, cross-legged, arms wrapped around her knees, watching the gentle sway of Miriam's body. The room was dark except for the soft blue glow of a nightlight shaped like a star. She's the only thing keeping us sane, Miriam murmured. Claire nodded. She's why we're still here. She's what we got right. Miriam looked down at the doll and smiled, a private, aching kind of smile. Claire stared a moment longer, then whispered, Do you ever forget she's not? Don't. Miriam's voice cut like a snapped violin string. Claire fell silent. They rocked together in the silence. Just the creak of the glider, the low hum of the monitor, and the storm whispering outside. Sometime after midnight, Claire padded down the hallway to the kitchen for water. She stepped over one of her own tripwires, a line of beads strung ankle-high, and checked the locks again, then the drawer with the knives. All present. But still, the air felt wrong, like someone had just stepped out of the room. Back in the nursery, Lily was sleeping, or at least still. Claire leaned in close, listening for breath that wouldn't come, and behind her, in the baby monitor, a sound she hadn't heard in weeks. Breathing. Not the doll's, a man's. She's pregnant in the dream. Big, full, swollen with life she's not ready for but already loves more than her own skin. She's sitting at the dinner table in their old house, candle lit, plate untouched, a pale napkin crumpled in her lap like a surrender flag. Her husband stands across the room. No face, just shape. Presence, wait. His voice grinds the air. Still won't eat, huh? Claire doesn't answer. He steps closer. You think starving yourself is going to make it right? Closer still. You think you're the victim here? His voice climbs. You didn't fall down the stairs, you threw yourself and you killed her. Claire rises to her feet unsteady. She's not dead. He roars, flips the table. Plates crash, silverware clatters, and grabs her by the arm. His hand is fire, his strength absolute. She tries to pull away. He shoves her hard. Her back hits the kitchen cabinet with a crunch that steals the breath from her lungs. She slides down the wood. The tile is cold. Her side aches like glass in her ribs. She tastes blood. She tries to scream, but nothing comes. He's pacing now, ranting about bills, broken dreams, the baby that ruined everything. His voice cuts in and out, like radio static full of bile. She was mine, he says, pointing a trembling finger. And you took her. Claire crawls. Her belly drags, one hand in front of the other. She's heading for the end table, the little one by the hallway, the one they bought at the flea market on their first good day. It has the house phone on it, and a drawer. The drawer. He notices. Don't you fucking move. But she's already there, pulling herself upright with a cry. He charges. She rips the drawer open. The revolver inside is cold, heavy, and waiting. She doesn't aim. She just pulls the trigger. Once, twice, a third time. Each shot cracks like thunder. He stumbles back, mouth open, chest blooming red. She fires again and again. 6 shots. All of them. She empties the whole chamber into him. He collapses into the chair at the head of the table, like some grotesque king finally taking his throne. Blood runs down his shirt and pools on the linoleum. The silence is enormous. Claire turns. The high chair is still upright. Lily sits inside it, wrapped in pink. Her glassy eyes stare through Claire, unblinking. The doll says nothing. She says everything. Claire jolts awake in her bed, soaked with sweat. The thunder from the dream follows her into waking. It's still storming, still dark. At the foot of the bed, the door creaks open. Miriam stands there, lit only by hallway shadows. Her voice is soft, steady. He deserved it, she says, and we did what we had to do. Claire doesn't speak. Miriam walks to the bed and brushes Claire's damp hair back from her forehead like a mother should. You saved her, Miriam whispers. That's what matters. Later that morning, the rain lets up just long enough for someone to knock on the door. A soft, polite knock. Claire tenses. The monitor hisses. Lily is in the crib, silent as always. Miriam comes down the hall with a teacup in one hand and the other already reaching for Claire's arm. It's all right, she says. You're safe. But Claire's already at the door. A voice calls out through the wood. UPS, got a delivery for Hadley. Claire freezes. Something in the tone. It's wrong. Too casual. Too familiar. She peers through the peephole. Her breath catches. It's him. The beard. The jaw. The heavy boots. He's not soaked. He should be soaked. He should be dead. Miriam is suddenly behind her, voice low and shaking. He's come to take her. Claire stares out the peephole. His face doesn't move, doesn't blink. Thunder growls. Rain starts again. He steps away from the door, disappears toward the side of the house. Claire backs up. He's going around. He's going to try the back. Miriam whispers, Get the baby. I'll get the knife. No, Claire says, eyes wide. I'll get the knife. She disappears into the kitchen. Miriam stands still in the foyer, watching the door like it might speak. Outside, another knock, then silence. Rain ran down the windows in crooked veins. Claire pressed her face to the edge of the curtain and watched as he moved through the yard. His shape blurred through the storm. Broad shoulders. The hood of a brown jacket pulled up against the wind. She could see the same boots, black with gray soles, squelching through mud she didn't remember stepping in. He stopped at the back door and knocked. Once. Claire didn't answer. She stood in the kitchen now, barefoot and silent, a butcher knife clutched tight in her hand. The house had gone dead quiet, no hum from the fridge, no static from the monitor. Even Lily was silent in the crib, wrapped in pink, glass eyes closed. Then, footsteps on the front porch. Claire turned to the door and steadied her breath. Her heart slammed against her ribs like it wanted out. She counted backward from 3, then yanked it open. He was standing there, soaked, confused, maybe smiling, maybe not. His mouth started to move. Ma'am, Claire plunged the knife into his chest. The blade hit bone, slid, found meat. She pulled it free and drove it in again. blood sprayed warm against her face. He dropped the box he was holding, staggered backward, hit the doorframe and slid down it like a dying marionette. His eyes never left hers. She kept stabbing. When it was over, the rain was still falling. Claire stood in the open doorway, panting, dripping. The knife slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. The body slumped against the threshold, brown uniform soaked red, a UPS patch barely visible through the blood. The box he'd been holding lay in the entryway, damp at the corners, a shipping label smeared. Claire Hadley from Reborn Therapeutics, custom order. She stepped over the corpse and dragged the package inside, both hands shaking. She set it on the kitchen table. It looked too normal. A rectangle of tape and cardboard, the kind of box you see on a doorstep and never think twice about. She sliced the top open with the kitchen shears. Inside, a layer of bubble wrap, pink blanket, a birth certificate, blank, waiting for a name. And beneath that, the doll. Hyper-realistic, life-sized, vinyl soft skin and blue glass eyes with hand-punched lashes. Her mouth slightly parted, her tiny fists curled against her chest. Claire stared at it. The room swayed, and in that moment, the haze cracked. The eyes looked wet, the skin bloody. Claire screamed. She scooped the doll into her arms and sank to the floor, rocking back and forth, shrieking, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay." Blood smeared across her nightgown, her arms, her face. She kissed its forehead, and her lips came away red. "You're not gone, you're not gone." Miriam found her there, curled around the doll like a shield. Her voice was soft. "Claire, what did you do?" Claire didn't look up. "He tried to take her." "No, no, sweetheart, that wasn't him." "Yes, it was." Claire's voice cracked. "He came back. I killed him again. I saved her again." Miriam stepped closer, kneeling down beside her. She saw the box, the invoice, the packing slip, the doll, the blood. "Oh, Claire," she whispered. Interior, police interrogation room 2 days later. Fluorescent light buzzes overhead, metal chair, white table. Dr. Miriam Holloway sits across from a detective with a tablet. She's calm, buttoned blouse, hands folded like someone waiting for a sermon to begin. She believed her husband was still alive, Miriam says. He wasn't. No, Claire shot and killed him 4 years ago. Self-defense. The trauma of the miscarriage pushed her over the edge. She'd already started to unravel before the trial ended. The detective leans in. "And you were assigned as her state-appointed psychiatric supervisor." "Yes, but you moved in with her, told her to call you Mom." "She needed a mother," Miriam says, unfazed, "and I needed a daughter. You let her live inside that delusion." Miriam smiles, almost tender. She was healing. She stabbed a delivery man in the chest 7 times. She thought he was trying to take her baby. The detective slides the photo across the table. The doll from the box, red-streaked, cradled in a blood-slicked towel. You knew she was ordering a replacement. She said Lily was getting dirty, worn out. She wanted her to feel new again. And you didn't think to intervene? Miriam doesn't blink. Would you take a baby away from her mother? The detective's voice rises. It wasn't a baby. It was plastic. It was vinyl and glass and delusion. And now a man is dead. Miriam just stares at the doll. "I have no regrets," she says softly. The camera clicks off.